It's really common for people to be in the United States and then leave the country, maybe to go see a sick relative or to, go to a wedding or see a family member. Basically, they have something personal that they need to go do in their home country, and then they re-enter the country without permission. So if this is extremely common for our Mexican neighbors, right? So I'm in Arizona. Hi, I'm immigration attorney Hillary Walsh of New Frontier Immigration Law, where we help people live free in the United States. If you're listening and you can't see, but if you can see, my background says Vive Libre all over it and Vive Sin Miedo, because we want you to be able to live without fear as well. We help people who have the permanent bar all the time. So el permanente bajo. I had to learn the phrase, and gosh, I really hope I said it right now that I think about it, but I learned that phrase from having to hear my translator say it to people over and over and over. And usually back before I did T visas and back before I really figured out how to help with VAWA, I would tell people every single day, I'm so sorry, but you have the permanent bar, and that means that you cannot fix your status unless you leave for 10 years. You have to go to your home country for 10 years, and then we apply for you to come back. And that is true sometimes. I have to tell people that I have to tell tons of people that you have the permanent bar, because if you've been in the US for more than a year, in the aggregate, so 3 months here, 3 months there, 3 months here, 3 months there, we get to a total of 1 year where you're in the US without permission. You leave and you come back, or you attempt to come back without permission. So you try to cross the border illegally. You have someone trying to drive you through, whatever it may be. And either you attempt it and you're caught, or you actually get back into the US. It means you have the permanent bar. And what does the permanent bar means? It means you cannot fix in the US, except for exceptions, which I specialize in because I had to, because there were so many people I was saying, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do for you. And we were not helping people live free. We were not helping them vive libre. So it means you can't fix in the US. You have to leave for 10 straight years. And then you have to apply and ask basically to be able to come back in. You have to apply for what's called a 212 waiver. Okay, so a lot of times leaving for 10 years is not an option. You might have young children here in the US who are American citizens, and you want them to grow up in the United States and have an American education, etc. So you don't want to leave. What do we do? Well, number one is you could leave. But obviously, if we're taking that off the table and you don't want to leave for 10 years, what do we do? There are a few options available to you. And I mean few. Like, I can count them. There are 3 of them that are available to you. And I'm going to go through them. The first is if you're put into, maybe there's more. Maybe there's more. Stay tuned in case my counting is off. There might be 4 because I'm thinking of 4 and maybe even a 5th one as I think about it. Let's say you're in removal proceedings. Okay. It's the government's trying to deport you. You have options, and those all those options take the permanent bar off the table. So you have options if you're in removal proceedings and you qualify, but that's going to be through asylum, withholding of removal, or convention against torture. So basically, like, someone in my home country is going to harm me, so don't deport me. That's one way to not have to deal with the permanent bar. Another way is going to be through 42B cancellation of removal, or special rule cancellation of removal through VAWA. You have to have certain U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident family members to qualify for that. So if you don't have any family members who have status, then that option is not going to help you. But if you have a spouse who's a citizen or a lawful permanent resident, or an ex-spouse for that matter, or parents who are citizens or residents, even if they're deceased, or if you have kids who are citizens or residents, then that might be an option for you to be able to overcome the permanent bar through having your removal order canceled. Okay, so that's in removal proceedings. And then now let's say you're not in removal proceedings. Let's say you're just ordinary person walking along on the street. What can you do if you have the permanent bar? And your options, again, are very limited. You could seek asylum. So if you need to seek asylum because someone's going to hurt you in your home country, that's one way. The next way, and these are the more common ways, these are the ways that I really, really specialize in. I specialize in all of the cases that I've mentioned, the types of cases I've mentioned, narrow on how can I overcome the permanent bar if I'm not in removal proceedings and I'm not going to seek asylum. How can I fix without leaving? How can I overcome the permanent bar without leaving the US? It's going to be a U visa, a T visa, and in very certain circumstances, very limited circumstances, I can help you do it through VAWA and a waiver. Okay. So a T visa, I've got a lot of videos on my YouTube channel and on my podcast, Immigration Law Made Easy, where you can listen about T visas, you can listen about VAWA, and you can listen about U visas. So this really isn't the container that we're going to talk about what each of those are and whether you qualify. Go to that library of information where I can teach you about each of those things. But what I will say is, number one, if you know, I don't have any family members who have status. I don't have kids, I don't have a spouse, and I don't have parents who have status. Maybe uncles, maybe aunts, maybe grandparents, whatever. But if it's not your kid's spouse or ex-spouse or your parent, then we need to do a T visa or U visa for you. I already know that. VAWA will not help you. But if you do have family members who have status, then you have the whole buffet of options available to you, U visa, T visa, and possibly VAWA. Okay. So there are ways to fix without leaving, even if you have the permanent bar. And it's those three things usually: T visa, VAWA, U visa. All right. And then of course with asylum, and if you're in removal proceedings, cancellation of removal in very certain circumstances. I hope this is helpful. I hope it gives you hope. I hope it helps you live a little bit less, with a little less fear. I'm at New Frontier Immigration Law. My law firm's in Phoenix, but I help people all over the US and indeed all over the world. I have clients in remote villages in Africa. I have clients in South America. I have clients in Australia and in Korea and in Mexico, all over the place, guys. So no matter where you are, we can help you. If we can help you, we will tell you. And if the answer is, I'm really sorry, you have the permanent bar, there's nothing I can do for you, I will be the first person to tell you that. But you'll know that you've talked to someone who has helped hundreds and hundreds of people who had been told by other folks, by other legal professionals, I'm sorry, we can't help you. And we were able to find the way. So if we're able to find it, I strongly believe that if there is a way, that New Frontier will be able to help you find it. Thanks, friends, and I hope you have a great day. Call me at New Frontier if you need any additional help.